Will Shane Pinto of the Ottawa Senators be wearing a spoked B this season? Cat's a Paul for Locker Room. Appreciate if you drop a like, comment down below, and subscribe if you're not already. Let's get right into it. So Shane Pinto, not really happy with his contract situation. Got a little bit of a dilemma. And Jim Murphy of the Boston Hockey Now has said that the Bruins are expected to be interested in Pinto's services, which would make a lot of sense due to the lack of center depth. Yes, they brought in Geeky and Brown, but hey, getting a young 22-year-old center is never a bad thing. And it looks like, due to the situation, that the Senators want a high-end prospect. What is mentioned in this article is that Fabian Lysell or John Beecher could be options in a trade to acquire Pinto. Now, Fabian Lysell I'd like to hold on to if we possibly could. But if we could trade John Beecher, if the Bruins could trade John Beecher and a couple prospects, I think this would make a lot of sense. Ottawa doesn't have the cap space right now to make a deal work. It appears that to be the case. But when you look at Shane Pinto in his rookie season last year, 82 games played, 20 goals, 15 assists for 35 points. That's good production from a 22-year-old. And you have a guy that is young and can keep developing. He was 52.1% on the dot. That's a young center you should want to acquire. Even if he stays around 30, 40 points for this next upcoming season, he has the potential to keep on growing. And in comparison, I'll go with John Beecher first. He looks like a solid fourth-line NHL center option at this point. He hasn't really flashed in Providence. He's done okay. I know he's only 22 as well. But if you were to compare players, Pinto is a far better center than Beecher. And I'm hoping Beecher can prove a lot of people wrong. I'm hoping he can pave himself out a good route in the NHL and surprise some people. But thus far in his career, he's been solid, but not great. In his last year in the NCAA, in 34 games played, he had 6 goals, 9 assists for 15 points. Solid, but that's not wowing anybody. And then with the Providence Bruins last season, in 61 games played, he had 9 goals, 14 assists for 23 points. There's just not a lot of offensive upside right now with Beecher. And he's 22. Maybe he can develop. Maybe he can keep getting better. But if I could trade Beecher and maybe a couple of decent prospects to acquire Pinto, I'd do that in a heartbeat. And in comparison, though, Lysell is a guy I wouldn't want to deal if I'm the Bruins. I think there's a lot more offensive flash there. He's a solid player. He's a right wing right now. He's only 20 years old. And he's looked decent in Providence. In 54 games last season, he had 14 goals, 23 assists for 37 points. His rookie year as a professional hockey player. And I think he's maybe a year or two away. But Lysell has shown some really good dynamic offensive flashes that I wouldn't want to trade him if I didn't have to. It just depends what you think Pinto is. Do you think he can become a number 1 center? Do you think he's number 2? If I'm the Bruins, I'm trying to hold on to all the good prospects I possibly have. But if I could deal Beecher in exchange for a guy that I feel has far higher upside and shown at the NHL level he can be around a 30-point scorer, I take that deal. The Bruins don't have much center depth. They just don't. They don't have much in their system. So you might as well take advantage of a situation where the Senators, they drafted someone that they feel like could be the guy for them. In this article, they even reference it. Greg was drafted 28th overall in the 2020 draft. Seems like that's the guy they want to go with, bring him into the fold. So Pinto, due to the contract situation, has become a little bit expendable. I'm just saying I think it makes sense for the Bruins to trade Beecher and a couple prospects to make this deal happen. I wouldn't trade Lysell. I think there's a very good shot Lysell will be a very good player at the NHL level. Am I saying elite superstar? No. But be a good quality top 6 guy. That's what the Bruins need. And if you bring in Pinto, you're hoping that he can develop at the very least to a very good second line center and maybe more. They need to have someone good on the dot, pretty decent in his rookie year, and who knows? maybe, just maybe, he could develop eventually into a #1 center. Not saying that's going to be the case, but if you're the Bruins, do you have, what would it hurt to trade Beecher, who's kind of a middling prospect, in my opinion? And if I'm Ottawa, why not? You have a guy in your system you view as a better option in the future. You would get a draft pick and a guy that could fill out a fourth line role. Might as well get something for a guy that eventually might just say, hey, see you later. But I'd like to know your thoughts down below. Do you think the Boston Bruins should try to acquire Shane Pinto? Do you think that a Beecher and a couple prospect deal would make sense? Or are the Senators going to be very high on Pinto and at least want buy sell? I'd love to know your thoughts down below in the comment section. I'm Captain Paul, and I'll see you in the next one.